quite the penalty.
It was, you know what? It was among the best 2 years of my life because I went to 4 treatment centers in a year and a half, 91 and 92. And when I come back from the last one, seeing all my buddies parked at Scamps, I thought, I got to get out of here. And I went straight to Toronto, and I was determined to figure out what the hell was going on with me. Why? I literally, I didn't eat for like 10 days one time because I couldn't figure out how can I do without food, but I can't do without booze.
Yeah.
Or better put, I felt like a waste of a bag of groceries, to be honest with you, like in that state. And then I went to my last treatment center, and something changed for me. I gave in completely. I went to Toronto, and I spent 2 years, like 400 meetings in 13 months, volunteered at the Scott Mission, transition housing for men. And the first day when I landed there at the transition housing for men, I had a mark. Hello, I'm Tim Darmick, and this is Georgina Speaks. I'm doing this video to launch a fundraiser I'm doing just to cover the cost of some of the stuff I do in the community. With Cheesecake Chronicles, I record people's life stories for their families, and it takes an hour to 2 hours. If you have a grandfather, grandmother, like a family member in their late 60s or around that age, their grandparents were born in the early 1900s, some of them in the 1800s, mine was. And I simply sit with them for an hour to 2 hours, talk about historically the First, Second World War, the Great Depression, all that stuff, and they recount the memories of whatever they heard about their family members over the years. And at the end of that time, I give that to your family member. And I do that for free. If you donate to the food bank, you want to give me $20 to cover my memory stick and stuff, like a bit of my expenses, but essentially that's one of my service efforts in the community. See the Senior's Diary. And my Cheesecake Chronicles are legendary, I have to say. I tried to do a video about it, but I had 300 or 400 pictures. I didn't know what to do with them, so I'll embed a video. There'll be 3 or 4 videos embedded at the end of this clip. I'm going to try and keep this short because I've done this 15 times and I can't get it less than 20 minutes, so I'm doing this quickly. So Senior's Diary, recording your family members' life stories, Cheesecake Chronicles throughout the community, and I've hit every business in town, all the teenagers working in the grocery stores that I could find. I just have a lot of respect for them with their entry-level jobs, shitty pay. They're smiling and doing the job, and I take them a cheesecake and say, you know what, kid, you're killing it. Never forget the value to who you are. Martin Nash did that to me at the end of my first year of real estate in 1982. And I'll never forget how good it felt to be told that, and I never forgot it. So that's one of my community efforts. Adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse. I am one, and I bottomed out in 91, 92, and went to Toronto to get my recovery from drug and alcohol abuse, but the drug and alcohol abuse was a byproduct of the fact that I had been sexually abused. Screwed up pretty good, and I maneuvered through my adult life to get my kids raised, 80% thanks to their mother. And in 92, I spent 2 years in 92 to 95 in Toronto, getting my recovery through spirituality, 12-step programs, therapy, volunteer work back then, and I've had a good 30-odd years since. So I did a song advocating on behalf of it, and it was basically, and a friend and somebody, a dear person with 30 years of animation experience, animated it for me. It's called Victims No Longer. They flew me all over to 2 or 3 of the Latin countries, and here. I was interviewed by Georgina Life, Grant and Linda, 2 of the sweetest people I know, regarding my Victims No Longer video. And so that's another effort I advocate for. And I've had many people get a hold of me, and we sit down and they tell their story. They have a need to tell their story, and I'm always happy to do that. And the reason is because, boy, I understand what they're going through, and when they're done telling their story, I can usually affect a positive outcome to some degree. And by that I mean to get them to understand that, okay, you're not crazy. 1 second, the furnace just come on, I want to shut it off. Okay, so I'll keep going. That's so if you're jammed up on that issue, if you have a need to talk about any issues regarding being an adult survivor, I'm always willing to sit down with anybody who would like to have those discussions, compare notes and the craziness of it. there's a way out of the forest, and I'll be more than happy to sit down and talk about it. So that's my adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse. I did do a video in support of domestic violence victims, and that was called Anger's Not Pretty. And again, I did a video for that, and posted it, and I presented that in foreign countries as well, and here in Canada. And I did a song called Painted Blue. I won a songwriters contest in Georgina for that, and supported by the Arts Council. And I do everything I can do to support. That's one other big thing I've done. I've done between 200 videos at least of young artists, not young artists, new artists in town trying to make their way to get started. There's my phone going off. I'm going to leave it. So what I do is I film them wherever they're performing, and then I make music videos for them with my my package. And I've done 200-300. I post them on my podcast, and then they have a body of work that they can send links to people that want to see what their work is. It's support for the live music, local artists, local live music, and a lot of gratitude to the restaurants. The 5 leaders of that effort in terms of new musicians coming up is started with Jamie Lynn about a few years ago. I attended my first open mics. She ran them. She still hosts one over at the Belvedere. Dana Rickers, he does one these days at the Mansion every 2 weeks on Wednesday nights. Wayne Matters and Rachel Anderson, 2 more of our fearless leaders. Rachel does one at the Turkey Shoot every 2 weeks on Friday night, and she does every 2 weeks at the symposium, and then on the alternate weeks at the symposium, the Wayne Matters does the one on Friday nights, Fish and Chip Fridays. Makes it a good night. You get a nice plate of fish and chips and so on, and live music. So that's that. And the last fearless leader, but certainly not the least, is Perry Abo, who has spent a huge portion of his recent years organizing events, hosting an open mic at the Lions and Sun, safest place on the planet on a Thursday night, just a family place. I love it there. So that's that. So there's my local arts and music support for 200-300 videos, and I do it all on my own time because I love doing it. There's something I've always gotten out of service of others that feeds me, keeps me on the straight and narrow, and makes sense out of the world somehow. And so I get everything out of it, and more than I give. That's for sure. So I'm doing a GoFundMe page, trying to raise between $1,000 and $1,500 a month on a fairly regular basis, and then anything above what I need, and it won't go over that amount, will go directly to the food bank in Sutton and those great people, and the Shades of Hope people, or the Peace of Hearts people, for the animal shelter for animals in distress. Obviously, Peace of Hearts for the autism, whom I did an advocacy song and video for autism too, and it was a lot of fun to do. It was amazing, and I had a special reason for doing it. So that's my effort. And then at the end of this video, when this ends, 3 or 4 links will appear, and there'll be one last thing. My Lake Drive effort, I spent $100,000, my last $100,000 actually, right out of income I was making off of jobs, to do a judicial review of the town's process on Lake Drive. I didn't agree with it, still don't, but I lost. And getting involved in it, I got involved in it as a result of the chairman of the committee that's representing those people. And for whatever reason, Daryl Blanchard, Alan Darrenfeld, we come to an impasse, and I was left on my own to carry on. And I did, because I believed in it. I had very little vested interest, but I believed in sticking up for people's rights. And there's 400 of you down there, and I earnestly care deeply about your rights being violated. And for those of you who didn't get on board, which is all of you, I have no animosity about that. I understand it completely. It's not an easy thing to decide to do, and not everybody's as crazy as me. So love yous all. But if there's anything you can do, you want to pitch in, I'm going to post a GoFundMe link, and I'll be just doing the same thing as I did on your behalf, to the best of my ability. And so life's good, and I'm moving forward. Like I said, my career is changing a bit. I'm pivoting from full-time building. I might build one more next year. It depends if something comes up. But everything got canceled this year, and it doesn't look like much is going to happen next year. So, but I have an extensive package for consulting for people that want to build their own houses. They want to go through the permit process first before they pick a builder. I can help you do that as well. Or if you want to build your own, I can provide some consulting. to make it possible for you to do that. So that's my whole thing. And this video is for my GoFundMe page for the Georgina Speaks service of others, selfless service of others effort. And God love you all. God love Georgina. Oh, let me just do this. Town of no, I gotta take my cape off. Hang on. Town of Georgina is a lovely place to be. You hunt and fish and walk the dog and raise your family. When I first got here, I didn't think I'd stay. Now a team of wild horses couldn't drag me away. So that's enough of that nonsense. Love yous all. Take care.